It's been a long, difficult journey for Sohail Ahmed since fleeing Pakistan 4 years ago for fear of persecution. It's a journey that has led the 25-year-old to seek asylum in Cardiff.
All of this is water. You can feel it, and it's very soft because of the water. When I came here and then see all this situation, I called them many times. They are making promises. Are we gonna come tomorrow and then make the list? But since that time, nothing been happened.
Accommodation for the almost 3,000 people in Wales currently seeking asylum is provided by Clear Springs Ready Homes. The company's contract with the UK government is worth £119 million over 5 years. It's due to expire next year, but the Home Office is actively considering an extension. Last year, the company made a profit after tax of just over £1 million. Groups working with asylum seekers say housing problems are commonplace.
You wouldn't see any other publicly funded housing in Wales of that condition. There are serious issues in terms of health and safety. So, it's just an accident waiting to happen, really.
Another asylum home, this time in Swansea, but with similar problems. The family don't wish to be filmed for fear of reprisals, so the local assembly member gives the tour.
It's not a unique experience to this family. There's other families across Swansea, some of whom I visited, who are experiencing the same things.
And here's further evidence. Clear Springs Ready Homes declined to comment, but the Home Office said it's committed to providing safe and secure asylum accommodation. And that's exactly what Sohail and other asylum seekers want too. Inseparable and a relationship to aspire to. A tribute from 4 loving children to their parents, Christine and Roger Solik, born and bred in the Mountain Ash area of the Cynon Valley. I've just spoken to Christine's brother and sister at their family home where they're consoling their mother, and they're obviously devastated by the news and finding it quite difficult to comprehend actually that it was only last month that they saw Christine, who'd returned home to bury her father. A tight-knit community mourns.
People are very shocked by the news that we've heard, the brutality and the senselessness of the killings, and the thoughts of the community are very much with the family at this tragic time. My office manager knows the family, and she's spoken to them already, and they said they're devastated, which is obviously understandable.
Married in the valleys, it was, however, South Africa where they made their life, moving there in 1981. Work, family and retirement would follow before enjoying their final days in the country's KwaZulu-Natal province, in a town not far from the picturesque Drakensberg Mountains. Police suspect they were kidnapped from their home in the town of Nottingham Road last Friday. Christine's body was found later that day in a river, bound and murdered 50 miles from their home in a gated community. Later, the couple's car was discovered abandoned in the KwaMadlala area. Roger, 66 years old and suffering from Parkinson's disease for the last 20 years, wouldn't be found until Monday, over a mile from where Christine's body was discovered. From a small town in South Africa to a small town in the South Wales valleys, that shock at the murder of Christine and Roger Solik continues to reverberate. In fact, it was a policy that was included in every major party's manifesto. So there's wide support for this commitment to scrap the tolls by the end of 2018. Good news for the around 25 million vehicles that use this stretch of road and the 2 crossings every single year, paying between £6.70 and £20 a pop. And they've been paying tolls on the newer Severn Bridge since it was opened in 1996. You can see it just in the distance there. And then ministers would dispute that claim, but they can't argue with some of the problems seen in our prisons in recent months. These were the scenes at Birmingham Prison just before Christmas. They were the worst prison riots seen for more than a quarter of a century. Last year, a record number of people killed themselves in Welsh and English prisons. Self-harm incidents also reached a record high, and assaults on staff were up 40% since the previous year.
There is a correlation between reduced staffing levels.
It's more common than you may think. Out of every 4 people, 1 of us will experience mental health problems in any given year. In this lineup, Andy from Showreel is that person.
I had a breakdown in 2002, ended up getting kicked out of the house, and in 2003 I found out that I'd got bipolar.
Do you think there's still a stigma attached to mental health issues?
Of course there is. It's absolutely rife. Because social stigma, it's kind of like a leper.
But whereas almost 72% of us said we had a positive attitude towards mental health problems back in 2012, a recent survey by the mental health campaign Time to Change Wales suggests an almost 5% shift, with now more than 3/4 of us responding positively. Well, Jennifer, this incident took place last May, in the week following Michelle Brown's election to the Senedd for the very first time, where, as you said, she represents UKIP as a regional assembly member for North Wales. Now, she usually lives in a village called Mostyn in Flintshire, so a room was arranged for her to stay at the Future Inn Hotel in Cardiff Bay, just round the corner from the Senedd, in fact, from Monday the 9th until Wednesday the 11th of May. Now, it's my understanding that the complaint was made by the hotel following her departure on the Wednesday, at which point they accused Michelle Brown of smoking recreational drugs in her bedroom and so charged her £250 because, due to the strong smell in the room, it cannot be used for 24 hours and so would need cleaning. Now, I have tried to contact Michelle Brown directly, but a spokesman has said on her behalf that she denies the allegation and says that the smell was caused by a strong-smelling tobacco product that she did smoke in the non-smoking room of the hotel. And I have a statement here.
62, 62, 87, 87.
It's more than just a numbers game. But for many years, the amount of people speaking Welsh has been in steady decline. Okay, siarad Cymraeg, do you speak Welsh?
No, I don't, sorry.
Were you brought up with it at all?
No, not really. We didn't speak much Welsh in school.
Most of us speak Welsh, friends and relatives.
But I don't think the younger generation speaks so much Welsh.
Do any of you speak Welsh?
No. I can understand a bit.
She does. Oh. But she's in a minority. At 65%, the Glanamore area of Llanelli is the part of Carmarthenshire with the highest percentage of people who have no grasp at all of the Welsh language. Census results show the number of people who can speak Welsh has fallen from 582,000 to 562,000, a drop in the proportion of Welsh speakers from 21% to 19%. Welsh lessons in rural Llandeilo, a Welsh-speaking heartland, but now fewer than half the population of Carmarthenshire speak the language.
Well, I moved to Carmarthenshire about 15 years ago with lots of my family, and so my boys went into Welsh medium education. I decided that it was better to put them in because they were so young, and I was just told that they would soak it up, and they have.
Launched last summer, the Welsh Government set itself a new target to almost double the number of Welsh speakers to 1 million by 2050. Education is central to that target. In Carmarthen's Ysgol Bro Myrddin, 4 pupils who've chosen a Welsh language education. How much Welsh is spoken in the corridors?
Very little a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It seems to be, if a teacher's in earshot, you'll jump into Welsh.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Personally, I think there's a mentality in young people now that English is the way forward in life, a complete misconception.
Back in 2003, the Welsh Government aimed to increase the proportion of Welsh speakers. They didn't just miss that target, the numbers actually fell backwards, not just here in Carmarthenshire, but right across Wales. It gives a sense of how hard it'll be to achieve their new target of reaching 1 million speakers over the next 30 years, which ministers admit is a deliberately ambitious target. But without radical change, it may well be an unrealistic one too. We'll also, of course, be looking at the council areas in the South Wales valleys, places like Torfaen, like Blaenau Gwent, Merthyr Tydfil, Caerphilly. According to Labour sources I've spoken to down there, they're a bit more confident that they've pulled some of their supporters back to the Remain campaign, but it could be just a case of damage limitation in some of those areas. As for the Remain camp, well, they're hoping to record big victories in some of the Welsh-speaking heartlands, Ceredigion, Gwynedd, and they're hoping for a big result in the capital city, Cardiff. So we're expecting the results to start trickling in from around about 1:30 in the morning. And we're expecting to be able to give you the all-Wales picture around about 4 or 5.
Thanks, James. Thanks for that.